Hi, Nicki Vee here. Now in this video, I'm sharing the very best ways to cope with this difficult time that we're all going through. They're calling this, aren't they, unprecedented waters, and it feels like that, I know. And so in the video, I'm sharing, how do you make decisions in this time when we don't know how long it's going to go on for? What beliefs have we got about this? What dilemmas are we facing? And how it's affected by our profile and our patterns of behavior. Now, this is a video that I made on Facebook Live some weeks ago, and I share how beneficial it is to look at where you are on a scale of 0 to 10. Are you in worry, doubt, frustration, maybe even angry, or maybe even low and depressed? And how can we use strategies and beliefs and behaviors? How can we look at ourselves and understand how to get higher up the scale on our journey to a 10 out of 10, as we always call it? So enjoy. This is definitely, something for us girls to be a real example to all of the women of how to be in the best place we can possibly be in the circumstances that we're in. And as I said yesterday, sometimes I think that we can feel a little bit vulnerable. We can feel like, sorry, the sun is absolutely streaming in the windows and I don't want to stop it because it's so lovely today to have all the sunshine. How can we be in the best place we could possibly be? Hey, hi, John. So that we are able to support others. And I suppose I just came on today without really thinking about what I was going to share. And I asked the questions, how are you doing? And what do you need in terms of support? So what is it that I can share with you today? Or, what should we talk about that's going to make the difference between perhaps you not being at a 10, remember this is part of our 10-10 movement, or maybe being in a situation where you're not sure. I've spoken to a couple of people today, this morning and this afternoon, one guy, one woman, part of our mastermind group. And actually they were both in very, very similar situation where they're kind of going, I was like in the process of, getting my business started, was the guy, and he's in a job. And that job has been put, what he called, on pause. I think that they're saying that, to all businesses, we want to support you to keep your people in the roles that they're normally in. But he was in this kind of mode of, he was thinking about leaving his job anyway and starting his own business, which is why he's with us. And of course, this has kind of put him a little bit out of kilter. And hey, Pete, how wonderful to hear you and see you, Pete. Well, I can't see you or hear you, but I can see that you're there. And that's so great to talk to you. And you have such skills to assist people in, shall we say, connecting online, which is so part of what we're talking about with everybody. So let me share with you. I was talking to this guy this morning and I asked him a couple of questions and it was really poignant. So I thought it might be useful to ask you the same questions, which was, if so be this was, and by the way, it's not Nicki Vee's belief that this is going to go on and on and on and on, but let's just say for a moment that this situation stayed exactly as it is today. So whatever your present situation is today, whether you are a key worker and you're, still dealing with the changes in your workplace, or whether you're like me, that you're still working in pretty much the same way, but you're at home and not going out. I'm staying at home because I've got an elderly mom who lives with me, so I'm not even going out shopping. I'm just, having people bring stuff for us. Or whether this has changed your business, or whether you're like, this guy I was talking to this morning was going, I was like sort of thinking to myself, well, I'll carry on doing my job, but then I've got to make the decision as to when to leave and press the button on the beginning of my business. So these are things and decisions we make in our lives. As you know, Tony and I are doing 10 past 10 at night. We're doing like our 10-10 movement late night chat with Tony and Nicki, which was absolutely bonkers last night. I was laughing, laughing myself, and I was in it. And if this is affecting your intimate relationship, is this affecting you because you're at home, you're working, and the kids are there? Or actually, maybe you're single and you're enforced time at home when normally you've been fine with being single or running your business from home because you've had social time. So, it's had a lot of different effect on lots of different people. And so I asked the guy this question. I said, well, if this did carry on until, say, Christmas, I just used Christmas as an example, what would you do then? And he was very, very honest. He immediately went, oh, well, if it was for that long, I'd have to think about what I might decide to do now, okay, or in the next couple of months. But I said, but if it was all over in 2 or 3 months, which is what their sort of current thinking is, would that make a difference? Would you now decide to stay in your job and wait until it's all over? I mean, these are dilemmas, these are difficulties that we have because we're in uncharted waters, as they might say. So, great. Hi, Tracy, Nicola. Hi, Jill and Kathy. Oh, goodness me, I haven't spoken to Kathy for years and years. So, Angelina Ritzer, amazing, amazing woman, corporate coach, trainer, and a specialist in disc profiles with insights with the colors. Are you, where do you hang out? Are you red, like my roses here? Are you yellow, like the sunshine? Are you green and in harmony? Are you blue and cool, calm and collected? Which one are you? She's an absolute genius at assisting teams to go through change. So very, very important for businesses at the moment to have people like Angelina. So Angelina's saying was in a good place. Now Simon, that's her partner, is out of work, and my work cancelled, money, worry exacerbating, all the COVID worries. So yes, I mean, interestingly, of course, this is something that businesses are responding to in all sorts of different ways. So some businesses, and a lot of this, funny enough, Angelina, talking to you, is going to be about people's beliefs. It's going to be about people's profile. So remember, those of you who know me well know that I talk about dominance, influence, steadiness, compliance, and look at dominance, influence. This side of the 4 parts of the profile are towards people. Therefore, they are likely to be more optimistic. They're likely to look towards what they want to have happen, towards what they want to do, towards what they want. People who are more high steadiness or more compliance, these are away from people, right? So that means they focus on what they don't want to have happen, and what could go wrong. So they're less optimistic. There's no right or wrong here, of course, but to recognize that even though Angelina is in herself a sort of, high influence, high dominance profile, so high yellow, high red for those people that know the Insights program, was in a good place. But now, because all businesses are looking at this differently, which is why I went to explain, because the business itself will have a sort of style and a culture. Are they battening down the hatches and going, let's, we know one company who let 17 people go out of 70 in the last few days. And then the government has put in place some wonderful, I mean, look, I've been around the sun a load of times. I've been through, I was only a teenager, I wasn't in business, but the 3-day week, we had 3-day weeks when literally, you'll laugh, literally I'd get home from school And my mum would say, well, we'll have our tea, but then the electricity's going to go off at say 6 o'clock because we had no electricity for lots of the time. And so we could only go to school or only work 3 days a week. Went through that, went through all the terrorist stuff in the 80s. And then in the noughties, or whatever they call it, 2005 or something like that, I think it was. No, that then Tony and I were in Austria. In the late 90s, when we had more terrorism in and IRA stuff in London. But then when Tony and I were in Austria, we had the sort of big recession in 2008, 2009. So I've been through lots and lots of these things. And Susie's saying I was living that one. And people behave differently, and we shouldn't be judgmental of that, because people behave either from their profile, which is very much part of them, or they will behave from their fear. And we shouldn't judge them, because everybody will behave how they behave. So again, yesterday I was talking about how you feel about this, how you respond to it is how you will always have responded to things. So maybe like Angelina, you're thinking of this in a money worries. Now, what's the truth? Is this something that's a little bit of a pattern for you? Do you often worry about money? Do you often think about, well, it's all very well, I've got that now, or I've got this in the bank, or I've got enough till the end of this month or the next month or the next year or whatever it is, or I'm in quite a safe situation, or I've got this many clients, or. But what's your belief about what's going to happen in the future? Do you look upon it? Hi, happy Monday, Shari. Do you look upon it in the way that you always have? What's the truth? Because that's the most common thing. Is that whatever you believed, often these beliefs will come from our upbringing, of course, as most of you know from being coaches and working with other people, you'll know that the upbringing has a big impact. So I was talking to someone this morning again who was saying, well, my parents, who are not my age even, right? This is a young person I was talking to, whose parents are just so frightened they won't let anybody go anywhere near the house. I mean, literally won't let anybody go near the house. Now, that won't have happened just because of this COVID thing, corona thing, as I call it, right? Because that will be the way that they will have reacted in many, many different times or many, many different situations. It may not have been as strong as nobody comes near the house, but it would have a similar kind of feel to it. It would have like a situation where it might be that they were going through, something at their work or something, and they're worried they're going to be the ones that are made redundant, so they don't book a holiday. I remember when Tony and I were in Austria, and we had our retreat in Austria, and we were doing so brilliantly. I mean, funny enough, when we bought the place, we were concerned we wouldn't be able to get people there. That was the one thing we were really concerned about. And we thought, anyway, because both of us are optimists, and so we said, look, this is going to be fine. We're going to be fine. We're going to go there. We're going to invite people. We're going to make the place amazing. They're going to have a fantastic experience when they come, and they'll tell their friends, and people will come. And we're smart. We can market it. We can talk about it. We can do talks and all that thing. But we were just a bit concerned that people would be going like, yeah, but like I've got to fly there, and I've got to I've got to do this, do that, and the other. So we put in place things. So think about that. Just thinking about that. What could you put in place right now that makes it easy for people to work with you if you're one of our, one of the coaches, consultants, trainers, business people that are on our mastermind or in my master coach people. But if you're in work and you're not thinking, well, what do I need to do? How can I be creative? You're going to think about that in the way that you always did. So, for example, we were a bit negative and went, well, how are we going to get people to Austria when they've got to get their flights booked and they've got to do this and they've got to do that? And then, somebody said to us, well, why don't you do a price that includes the flights? Why don't you go and pick them up from the airport? Why don't you do the whole thing as a package? And we did. And of course, as soon as we did that, it got better and better and better. So that's the way that we sort of adjusted our business, adjusted ourselves in order to overcome what we thought was, something that might not be so work so well. But the reason why I was sharing with you about that was when we were over there, we were doing really, really well. In fact, to the point where literally people were like going, we need to come to this weekend. We kept it down to quite a small number so we could coach people privately, and they were living in the hotel with us. And so we decided we were going to do like 2 events a month. And then all of a sudden, because of the press, and I'm not blaming the press, I'm just saying because the press was so full of people believing that this recession was going to affect their jobs, their bonuses, their businesses and everything, people kept cancelling. We'd been there nearly 5 years, and all of a sudden it was like somebody turned the tap off and people kept cancelling, and we had to again readjust. But it was tough, just like it is now when the press is saying, well, you need to stay in your home. Well, the government's saying we need to stay in our homes. The press are kind of saying, well, we won't be able to go to certain places, buy certain things. So people are worried. So Angelina's partner, obviously his job was, for some reason, dependent on things not being the same as they are right now, and he's lost his job. So she is now clearly, as we all would be, thinking about the finances. Now, and it doesn't matter what comes on the press with the government saying, well, we're going to be generous and we're going to say that you don't need to pay this for ages, and maybe the mortgage people are going to give us month holidays and things like that. We've got to look at and go, but I am worrying because I don't think that is going to affect me. I'm not sure I'm going to be safe. Am I going to keep my house? Are we going to have money for XYZ? Now, you're either thinking, if you're thinking that, and I think this is where we have to be really honest with ourselves, otherwise we can't help ourselves. Is that what you always do? Do you always, when things change, start to worry about money? And if you do, realize that you are creating that worry within yourself, and you're going, whoa, Nicki Vee, you've gone too far now. How do you mean I'm creating worry within myself? Well, yes, you are. Yes, we are. That is what we do as human beings. And the downside is that we might decide that things outside of ourselves are causing that, and therefore we sit with that worry instead of perhaps changing our belief. So I was again on the phone last night to one of my clients, and she was in a very low energy about the whole thing because her mom has severe conditions, clinical conditions, and so she's believing that she's going to die. And we had a conversation, and at the end of the conversation, just to give you the short version, she actually said to me, I don't believe that anybody else, Nicki Vee, would have dared say to me when I'm saying, I think my mother's going to die, what you did. Because what I did was I sort of said, well, would you be open to the, to the belief that we all die at some point? Would you be open to the change in belief that somehow this is her time to die? And you might go, but what's that got to do with money? It's just the same. We're going, there's something going to happen outside called money or death that I am worried about, and I'm anxious about it. And what I said to her last night was, I said, look, even if you just consider what's in your body right now. So if you've got worry, these are the words that Tony V uses, worry, doubt, anxious, frustrated, angry, scared, fearful, whatever it is, depressed, whatever it is, you've got that in your body. You are creating that in your body, right? And you might go, well, of course I am, Nicki Vee. I mean, like, I am, because I'm worried my mom's going to die, or I'm worried I'm going to have no money. But like, all I'm trying to share with you is you are creating it so you can uncreate it. So that at least you're not worrying about it. So you might go, oh God, why didn't you just say that in the video? I'll just stop worrying. I know how difficult that is. And the only thing that we can do is come back to ourselves and go, look, if I've got the chemicals of worry in my body, could it be possible that I actually impact my mom, the people around me, the money? I'm going out there. I understand I'm going out there now. But like, could it be possible that I impact those things just by my energy? Well, I believe yes. So if that's the case, if I'm going to then change my energy, what do I mean by energy? I mean like the chemicals in my body, the thoughts I have, the pictures I make, all that designs how I show up and where I am and what signals I'm giving out. So if I can have an impact that could make it worse, then could it be possible that I could have an impact that could make it better? Now, before you go, this is airy-fairy nonsense. What the hell are you talking about? Just listen, just think about this for a minute. Just listen to me for a second. What goes on inside of your body? Could we be open to the possibility that it has an impact on others and of what we manifest? I know if you're part of Nicki Vee, Tony V, Master Coach, Expert Empires, Tony and Nicki Vee relationship stuff, whatever you're part of, you must have come across some of these more, I believe, more resourceful thoughts. In which case, the thing that we have power over is ourselves, our thoughts, our pictures. And if we kid ourselves that we have no power, then, you know, technical term, we're fucked. I hope no children are listening. Because we can kid ourselves we have no power, then we're in victim, then we're just in fear, then we're no good to anybody, because all we can do is have a negative impact on the world, okay? And could that be we can have a negative impact on money? And could it be we have a negative impact on people and their healing? Talked about that a lot yesterday. Could it be that we, just little old me, with what I believe, what I feel, what I think, what I picture, what I believe, what I put out there, what I talk about, could little old me have an impact on the healing of this planet? Could little old me have an impact on the money that comes towards me? Could little old me have an impact on how people interact with me, or what comes towards me like automatically? You know, there's people that talking about this is the time of opportunity, and yes it is, and I know that can sound a bit harsh if you're got somebody in your family who's one of the people that's most at risk, or even somebody that has actually got this virus. You might be going, but Nicki, you shouldn't be talking about this. You should be talking about how we support them and how we help them. I know that, and I know that you will know how to support and help them because you're coming from a place of love. And if you're not, if you're coming from a place of fear, remember, you can't be in two places at the same time. You cannot be in fear and you cannot be in love at the same time. That's a philosophy that I believe in. I'm trusting that you might share that philosophy. So if you're going to be in a place of love, first of all, be being a place of love of yourself. Don't knock yourself for being worried, but remember that you have a power. You have a supreme power. You have a power inside of you that can overcome worried thoughts. You have a power inside of you that can put out a different message. You have a power inside of you that can change your beliefs. And yes, there's lots of techniques, but my goodness me, in this community, have we got people with all the techniques in the world for overcoming limiting beliefs, changing your physiology, you name it, we've got all of it. So just ask for help, right? But think about it. The biggest reason why you would change what you believe and what you think is the leverage. What do I mean by that? If you believe that you could have a detrimental effect on the money that comes towards you. I'm just going back to Angelina's first thing, right? The money that comes towards you, or the people in your life, or whether your mum's going to die or not. Okay. If you believe that you could have an impact, then you have power. And there's nothing as fulfilling than feeling we have the power. I spoke yesterday about Cordelia, who's going back into nursing, who was felt guilty about whether she went back or whether she didn't go back. But now, when she made that decision, all of a sudden she saw that it incredibly, and how she was going to use those skills, and how she was going to, and what we didn't talk about yesterday was think about how she's demonstrating to those 3 children of hers, how we're all demonstrating in any moment to the children of this planet how to believe that everything's as it's meant to be, to believe that the world is a great place, to believe that people are genuinely good, to believe that we can bring money towards us without trying and efforting and getting and all those sorts of things, and that people and money will move towards us if we're giving and we are contributing, and that we can assist them in some way that's valuable to them. And so I honestly do believe that we want to feel that power, because otherwise, here's the alternative, simple as this might sound, we're powerless. We are the victim of what's going on in the world, and therefore we're no good to ourselves and we're no good to anybody else. I've burbled on for ages and ages, so I am going to go back and see what everybody else is saying. So Angelina, I expect you were wishing you'd never put that on there, but trust that's been helpful. Jean, I too have been through all those things. One thing about being a bit older, Jean, we're just youngsters, you and me. This too will pass. And it is funny. Jean, thank you for reminding me, because when I look back at 2008, when Tony and I were in Austria, I look back at the 80s when I was working in Birmingham, and I was in Birmingham the night that the bomb went off in Birmingham. I was actually in Birmingham, not in the actual pub, thank the Lord, but I knew that pub really well. I used to do lots of pubs in Birmingham, as you can imagine. And when I think back, you can remember, and you'll remember it. And it's a bit like, it always reminds me of, obviously I've got 2 grandchildren, and Natty James, Nick's wife, and I have been, obviously I've enjoyed being part of the journey from them being born to them being now 10 and 7 years old. And we used to laugh and always say, when we were going through sleepless nights, wouldn't take the bottle, potty training, first day at school, you name it, you're going through something. And we just got into the habit of saying, in 3 months' time, we're going to laugh about this. And it's true. Jean's absolutely right. This too will pass. And I think that a couple of things we've already talked about today, which is really important, is number one is, when I was speaking about the guy that I spoke to this morning, is that, like, if we put life off because of this situation, that's just our habit. We put life off. We go, well, I'll wait until this blows over and then I'll decide about starting my business, or I'll leaving my job, or looking, working on that relationship, or doing, getting fit, or whatever that is. We're putting it off. And the other thing is realizing that we have the power within us in order to change things. But Jean, that's so true, because everything will change every day. Every day things are changing. I'm a bit of a weirdo, because I actually find change quite exciting, because I think that the way that we adapt and the way that we really utilize things when changing, the more resourceful we are, the more we can find the best in it. Susie said, being a high I put out a video on Saturday, working online from home unexpectedly. In 48 hours, it's had 5,000 views, helping others with great info, but helping move my business along too. Susie, you are a fantastic example. Let's just, without trying to get, what I love about what you've just put is 5,000 views. And that's going to help people, because Susie's got massive experience of how to, work online. She's had a fabulous business for, I can't think of the name of it. Please put it on here, about your rocks business, something rocks. Oh, can't think of what it is. Online business. with jewelry, crystal jewelry. Yes, all right. And so she's helping other people because she's got a lot of experience on working online from home, but also that will position her. Now let's, there is lots of absolutely wonderful benefits to our businesses as long as we're giving and not trying to get. If we give to get, it never feels. Look, we're all incredible human beings who can pick up energy very, very easily, much better than we think we can. And people will pick up if we're giving to get. Susie's such a great example of someone that gives absolutely unconditionally and has built a fabulous. Any of those of you from Mastermind who are new to Mastermind, who are in the getting started situation, this is Susie's a great example of, so you might want to get on to working online from home unexpectedly with Susie Seddon, because she's a great example, and she's built a fantastic reputation as someone who's a fantastic giver, someone who's in the zone, in the flow as a woman. Is a great example as a woman in the flow, and has a lovely life and a lovely lifestyle business, as the amazing Jude Huff calls it. So Angelina, I know what I need to do. That's so wonderful. And of course, we always know what we need to do. Barbara Campbell from Scotland. Oh, Sarah. Anne, I don't think I know Anne. Where are you from, Anne? Andrew, Dario, Gucci, Italy. I remember being in your wonderful home in Switzerland. I always get confused because he's Italian but lives in Switzerland. I remember being in your fantastic... How is Switzerland, Dario? Tell us how's Switzerland dealing with all of this? Elizabeth and Priya, JB, there she is. Priya, I've felt really overwhelmed today with all the things I need to do, and then in turn I felt like blah, blah, blah. Blah good or blah bad. I've started writing what my goals are for tomorrow and going to do a yoga online class. That's brilliant. So I felt really overwhelmed with all the things I need to do. And then in turn, I felt like, I don't really know what you mean by blah, so maybe I'm an old person. But maybe what you mean is I felt overwhelmed with all the things I need to do. And then in turn, I went, do you know what? It's going to be fine. Blah, 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 blah. And so what she's done, which is why I think that's what blah means. I've started writing what my goals are for tomorrow and going to do a yoga online class. Fantastic. Get really, really clear. I absolutely love, I got a piece of paper and a pen and I wrote down the names of all the people I was going to speak to today. And then I thought, 4:00. Think I'll go on and do a thingy at 4:00. And just came on. Normally I'd go to Tony and I'd get him to set it all up for me because I'm not very techie minded. And I'd go, I did just like, look, what's in the background? What's in the background? Do I want you to see my unmade bed? No. Would like you to see the angel picture, like I showed you yesterday. But no, I thought, no, I've got these lovely flowers that Tony bought me and I wanted the sunshine, because the sunshine has been so amazing. I mean, look at that sunshine. What is that? Can you see Buddha? We've got Buddha here. We've got all the big guns here. And angels. We've got all sorts of things. We did an angel card yesterday. I might do a different card today. That's what Priya did. That's what I do. I went I've refreshed all the flowers in the house this morning. And I thought to myself, maybe they'll all be dead by the weekend. That's fine. And in which case I will find some art or something to show you to make us feel better. And Priya's a great example. Dee, hello Dee, the gorgeous Sylvia. How are the Netherlands doing? Melissa Stone, hi Melissa. Tia, hi Tia. Good to get to know you. I'd like to get to know you, Tia. And Jack Duggan, fantastic. Well, head of sales, I'm impressed, or I'm honoured. Angelina, yes, I need to help others. Revenue is a bonus at this point. Absolutely. You see, I believe that revenue will come from helping others, but we can't be in that sort of giving to get thing. We can't be in that conditional giving. If we give, what we do is we have two opportunities, because we're not just giving to other people. We give of ourselves. We give of our experience. Like I said, Angelina is really, really unbelievably, unbelievably talented woman. And of course, the other thing I was thinking about when I was just thinking about you, that's why I couldn't get my words out, is that one of the things that I wanted to do was also just share some things that have helped me over the years when we've had, when we have challenges. And one of them is I read a book about, oh God, must be 20 odd years ago now, called The Game of Life. And then about 50, oh God, years and years later, I was in Glastonbury when Tony and I lived in Glastonbury, and I found this book again. It must be in the loft somewhere, but I found this book again and read it. And when I first read it, I found it a little bit gaudy, if I'm honestly, because I'm a big believer in God, but it was a bit Bible-y for me, and just for me. But I read it again and I thought, no, you know what? There's such wisdom in the Bible, such great things. But I also read it just from going, I needed it at the time. I needed it. I was not doing well. I was not doing well in Glastonbury. I didn't get on with the energy there very well. And I read the book again. It's a real short book. You can get it online. It's called The Game of Life by Florence Scovel Shinn. And it's basically talks about what I shared with you before, which is, we think that manifesting, if you've watched The Secret, I felt very disappointed when I heard about The Secret coming out and then it was all just, put something out there. I've got things like, what have I got to show you? Oh, this is Tony's, God, how dog-eared is this? This is Tony's original. Tony had that dream board when I first met him. And I don't know where mine is. Mine's around here somewhere. But we both had a dream board, which we thought was really great because we both had it with us when we were in Kuala Lumpur working. And when things, I forget what I was going to say now. It's almost mad. Why did I start showing the dream board? Somebody tell me where. I'll come back to it. It'll come back to me. Anyway. So when I was thinking about Angelina, I was thinking, yes, you've got all these wonderful powers. That's right. Game of Life book. It's all come back to me now. The Game of Life book. It's called The Game of Life by Florence Scovel Shinn. And basically she says, The Secret would say, oh, you know what, do a dream board. And then, this was Tony, what he wanted to do, and how much money you wanted to earn and all that sort of thing. And you put it out there and it will come, kind of thing. Would that be true? I doubt it. Not, because underneath we've got the unconscious and the superconscious that's basically giving messages to the universe at all times. And if we don't get a hold of what that is, what she says in the book is, you've got to be conscious of what your unconscious is telling the universe to give to you. And so the thing that made me think about that, Angelina, about money was, and I trust this is helpful to everybody, is that when Tony did a lot of work on the Game of Life with people, with our clients, we had one person and they needed 6,000 a month, right? And they were really struggling badly, worrying about the house and all that sort of thing. And he did some work with them, and the Game of Life basically talks to you about really getting underneath and finding out what it is you're really believing is going to happen. What pictures are you making? What are you putting out there that's actually going to get delivered to you if you're not really careful? But also it talks about realizing what you're doing that's massively holding you back. So what do I mean by that? So the first line of it is infinite spirit. So it's a bit out there spiritual, but I'm sure you quite like it, and you can always change the words if you need to. Infinite spirit, cast my burden off. And cast my burden is a very old-fashioned way of saying, please stop me being whatever I do. And it asks you to think of 3 words. So for example, Angelina could put worry in because she's got the word worry. So I have my 3 words, which are interesting because I put worry on to the end of it just recently. Infinite spirit, cast my burden of rushing, pushing and striving. And I popped on worrying because I started to worry a little bit about my mom. And I thought, no, that's not going to help. She's 93, so she's in that category. And I started worrying about her. And I'm thinking, no, that means I've got worry in my body. I've got the chemicals of running our body. That's never going to be good for me. It's not going to be good for her. It's not going to be good for my clients or my family or anybody. So I stopped it. And the way that I did that was I did my affirmation, which is infinite spirit, cast my burden of rushing, pushing, striving, and worrying. And so the philosophy, and then it goes on to say what you do want, which I'll come back to in a minute. So it's really, really good to recognize what specifically you're doing that is giving you this energy that you've got. And I would really recommend that book to anybody. Game of Life. You can download it on the internet. It's free, by Florence Scovel Shinn. So hopefully that's done the money thing, because I haven't got to the end of it. So Tony would have the person who wanted the 6,000 a month to affirm, infinite spirit, cast my burden of whatever this person was doing, and open my universal consciousness to bring towards me 6,000 a month and abundance, joy, wealth, whatever that was. And then the last bit is, as is my divine right. And he spoke to this person during the month, and they said that, a few things had come in and some income had come in, I think. And then they said, but, there's no potential for any other income to come in this month. And then just by they phoned the next day and said, I've just had a rebate off the gas people or something for £2,000, and it took her over the 6,000. So I would absolutely say, don't be attached to where it comes from. So just because you're not getting a salary, maybe money might come from a different place. So just put it out there. Rebel Rock, Susie Seddon, of course, and 75 secrets. 7 secrets. And growing stuff from the ground up, knowing nothing. Susie's saying, I grew stuff from the ground up. So I must hydrate. We must hydrate. Growing stuff from the ground up, knowing nothing. You see, sometimes we think we have to know so much to do things, but actually just coming from the heart, just coming from giving, just coming from deciding, it's a really good thing. I was just on the phone before this to a fantastic woman called Ritika, who works with women who are new mums, and overcoming all the struggles that brings when you're normally a working woman or executive woman, and now you've got a new baby. I always remember that. I always remember the midwife saying to me, it's all right, you working women, she said, you're the worst because you think you can control everything. You're not going to be able to control that little thing. I always remember that. And we were talking about launching a business, getting out there, and then we were just about to put the phone down, and she went, but I did decide that I'm going to go on Facebook and I'm just going to start a group of new moms anyway, of how we're going to overcome this time with this virus thing going on. And I went, oh, and so we've just had a whole 45 minutes talking about you launching your business, and now you're just telling me that you're just going to start that. That is launching your business, my darling. That is getting you out there, because that's your specialized subject, being a new mom and overcoming some of the challenges that brings you. So that's the message you need to get out there. And she said, but don't you think I need to go broader? Maybe just moms in general. And I said, no, because ask about baby is one of the biggest websites. I remember Nat and I used to look at it when Zach and I were little. If you're going to be specialist, you've got to be specialist. So whether this is a business thing for you, because I know this is on my normal Nicki Vee feed, so it's not everybody here is a self-employed business person. It doesn't matter. If you want to assist the world, especially at this time, assist them with the thing that you are uniquely able to assist them with. That would be my message. Blah. As in, I didn't do anything. So blah is like blah. Oh, I get it now. It's like nah, blah. Yeah, got it. You see, I'm an old person. I don't know all about that. Christina. Oh, Christina, I didn't recognise your new name, Holly. Long time. Oh no, something's happened now. I'm into some. I've touched a button. Julie Barker, Gary. Oh, I also Gary from Tony Robbins land. P.S. Roshan says hello, and he just got off the phone to champion Tony. My husband, Tony V, is like a Trojan to the cause. He is constantly on that phone. But that's what we're here for. We're at home. We're not in the office. Obviously, we're in the office. Well, normally I would be spending a lot of my time planning ahead for all our big events, talking to hotels, working out catering, working out all the sort of, how many people do I need and how many badges do we need and loads and loads of doing. I haven't got to do any of that because obviously we've gone all online. And obviously, there's people in the team who are working really, really hard to present everything that we normally do live online. But it's given me the opportunity to do this. And I mean, I'm just unbelievably grateful for the time it's given me. Sylvia says has to go. Of course people have to go. I understand people have to go. By the way, if you're coming on to this, it is now 10 to 5. I need to get moving, actually. So I'm going to tidy up and wind up in a little bit. And so if you're watching this or you've just come on, if you go back to the beginning when it's on live on Nicki Vee, if you have any questions, just pop them on there because I'll come back and have a look at it and answer any questions you have. Or if you want to have a call with me, or you want to just have a FaceTime with me, or you want to type through WhatsApp or text or Facebook Messenger. I mean, is there any end to all the ways that we can communicate nowadays? I love it. Sort of don't love it sometimes because it's just so many emails and everything. But anyway, if you would like some time, please, that's what I'm loving about having this time. So trust that you enjoyed that video and that you got something for you from it. So time now to take some action. And the first thing I would do is if you've got some decisions that you've been putting off or some decisions that you know deep down here that you need to make, let's have a look at them. Let's have a look at what's preventing you from making that decision and following through. Or maybe the action you've got to take is to look at your beliefs and to see how that might keep you stuck wherever you are on that scale of 0 to 10. And maybe also the action to take is to notice in that time, in this time between now and the next time we're together. Notice how your energy, your state, your patterns of behavior are affecting others. That would be a really good thing to notice. So now if I can help you at all, so if you've got any questions or comments about anything that's been in that video, please put it in the comments area below and I will get onto that and respond to you as quickly as I can. Now, let's remember, please do subscribe. If you're here for the first time, please hit the subscribe button and also the little bell at the top, the notification bell, so that you can know when we've put our next video on. We're going to be putting 2 videos a week up on the 1010 movement here. And of course, we're going to help you in whatever way we can. We're going to help, assist, work with you, be there for you to get you from wherever you are now to a 10 out of 10.